Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Hi, it's John, and welcome to the channel. Great to have you along today. It is 3:42 a.m. Watch us upside down. It is 3:42 a.m. and it is February 2nd with the big blue mug of coffee. Happy Groundhog Day to you, and I hope to God, for myself and for everybody watching this, we do not have to relive Justin Trudeau's speech over and over and over again. I'm going to go through some of the clips. I recorded it live, and there were things that stood out that I'm stunned this man had the gall to say. So I'm going to go through that, and I'm going to say something about the premiers and what they should have done. What they should have done last night. Now, did you wake up thinking about this morning? I'm a Canadian. I did. I've been doing these videos for about 6 weeks, talking about Canadian politics and things like that, and this is what was on my mind. But a lot of Canadians are waking up thinking about this situation with the United States and tariffs coming in and economic hardship, because, folks, I've never been through this before. This could get really bad really fast. But do you think Americans were waking up thinking about this today? I don't think too many were. A lot of them are rejoicing in what Donald Trump's doing for their country. He's sticking up for their country, America first. But here's what was trending this morning when I woke up. Nothing there on Canada. Last night, lots of reaction to this. And since Donald Trump put in the tariffs, lots of reaction. I mean, this is freaking pathetic. That's what I put. So I responded to this guy on X. Dear Donald, here's my brunch menu listing a whole bunch of things that are from Ontario and Canada. Do you really think Donald Trump woke up concerned about what Justin Trudeau said last night? No, apparently the CBC says that Trump's just going to come back with harsher tariffs now that we've got 25% tariffs on their goods now. Who's going to win this war? Donald Trump's not concerned about this. This is a man. He's been indicted 4 times. They've tried to throw him in jail. They've tried to destroy his businesses. They've impeached him twice. They've tried to destroy his family. They raided his house. They tried to kill the guy twice. And he stood up after getting hit in the ear with a bullet and went, fight, fight, fight. Do you really think Donald Trump is concerned about what Justin Trudeau said last night? No, he's in it for the long haul. And apparently, according to Trudeau, we are too, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Lots of people, proud Canadians right now. Likely these people right now are the same people who rejoice when we start tearing down our history, our statues, and these are the type of people who probably call you a settler when you stick up for your country. Tonight I'm prouder than I've ever been to be a Canadian. I'm the exact opposite. I thought that was pathetic last night, that we could even be in this situation, and we have a twit like Justin Trudeau speaking on behalf of our country. You don't have to like Mr. Trudeau to agree his speech hit the nail on the head. It's his fault. That's how I followed that one up. It's his fault we shouldn't be here. And then whether you like Trudeau or not, his speech tonight was perfect and powerful. I'm very proud to be a Canadian. Trudeau was responsible for this mess. Absolutely. Then we go over here to Corey Morgan. Now, Corey is with the Western Standard. Follow Corey. You can see his handle there. If you're on X, follow him. Watch the Western Standard. Subscribe to them as well. Note for the day, it's Alberta's oil, not Canada's. Alberta's in Canada. Therefore, it's Canada's oil. F off with your anti-Canada BS. If you want to be an effing MAGA moron, move to the damn States. Now, Marty up north, follow him as well. You can see him, and it's his tag there for X. And he says, hey, Albertans, time to wake up. Idiots like Dave are not the exception. This is how the majority of Eastern Canadians perceive Alberta. And he's absolutely right. They just want our resources and our money. Beyond that, they want us to be good little players on Team Canada without an actual say in policy. Time for a referendum on separation. And that's the other thing that hasn't really been discussed much. Danielle Smith, a week or so ago, said a national unity issue could be coming. And we're getting very close to that, folks. Now, if you're a proud Canadian and you want the country to stay together, you should be calling for Parliament to resume an election immediately. But Danielle Smith's absolutely right. The unity issue is coming. And as far as I'm concerned, I really am not a proud Canadian anymore. I live in Alberta. I call myself Albertan. I'd love to see us our own separate country. I don't want to be the 51st state, but Marty's absolutely right. The separation movement here in Alberta is likely to grow from this. And when he talks about they want our money and our resources, I mean, here's the layout right here. Look at Alberta puts so much money into equalization payments, and look who gets all of it. Everybody in the East. They've got to start pulling up their socks over there and stop shutting down our resource industry. I'm going to get to that in just a moment with what Trudeau said last night. Kudos to Trudeau's speechwriters. That was a good one. See if you feel that way when you're living in the 51st state. And so those are just some of the things you're hearing online and the reaction to what Trudeau said last night. I'm not happy with this at all. I think a lot of those people who are proud of themselves right now, we're not conservatives anyway. But there is an ulterior motive to what happened last night, and I've been saying it all along. I've seen more people over the last week or so saying this is a play for poll numbers for the Liberal Party. And yes, folks, I do believe that the economy is at stake right now and at risk because the Liberals need to bring up their poll numbers. Let's take a look at some of the clips from Justin Trudeau last night. Let me assure you, I'm not going to play the whole speech from last night. With his speech and answering questions, it went on for about 32 minutes. I'm going to try to keep this short. I don't want this video to be 20 minutes long. So I'm going to play a clip from the beginning of his speech and one near the end, because this was a theme throughout this speech last night.
I'm sure many of you are anxious, but I want you to know we are all in this together. This trade action by the Americans and our response is going to have real consequences for people, for workers on both sides of our border. We don't want to be here. We didn't ask for this. But we will not back down.
He started off his speech by saying we're all in this together. Are you in this with him? I'm not. This is a man and a party, the Liberal Party, that has done everything over the last 9 to 10 years to divide this country. They divide us on everything. Man versus woman, gay versus straight, black versus white. On and on and on. You know, the DEI stuff. I don't feel like I'm in on this with him. I don't want to be part of this. I don't think Canadians should be in this predicament at all, but it's because of him and the Liberal Party. And then he goes on to say, we won't back down. Well, we're damn right we're going to back down. We have to back down sometime because the United States won't back down. It's going to come to a point where we have to capitulate. And I want to know what that point is. Maybe we should have a national lottery, how high the Liberal poll numbers have to go before Justin Trudeau will finally back down to Donald Trump on this tariff issue. Because that's where we are, folks. Now, I want to talk about something he said about our minerals. Okay? Justin Trudeau said this about our critical minerals.
As I've said before, if President Trump wants to usher in a new golden age for the United States, the better path is to partner with Canada, not to punish us. Canada has critical minerals, reliable and affordable energy, stable democratic institutions, shared values, and the natural resources you need.
I was passively listening to his speech last night because his voice is like nails on a chalkboard. You know, and I couldn't stand looking at the screen. There's Dominic LeBlanc still babysitting Trudeau. He used to be his babysitter. And Melanie Joly, they stand like mannequins behind him. Yes, Mr. Trudeau. Yes, Mr. Trudeau. And then he said, we have critical minerals that the Americans need. And I went, what? Did he actually just say that? And here's Sheila Gunn Reid from Rebel News. Unbelievable. After spending 10 years demonizing and obstructing our natural resources and our energy, Trudeau is bragging about how valuable they are to the Americans. Absolutely right. And that's exactly what I thought when I heard him say that. And we're stuck right now, victim to tariffs from the United States of America because we don't sell stuff to anybody else. About 70 to 80% of all of our exports go to the United States of America. We are screwed because of Justin Trudeau. I mean, this was a story that came out on January 30th. Ditched resource projects, an estimated $670 billion of investment lost in ditched resource projects since Trudeau became prime minister. And he had the gall to say that last night in front of the nation and the world. So what are Donald Trump's gripes with Canada? Well, he's talked about trade imbalances. He's talked about fentanyl. He's talked about the border. And Justin Trudeau seems to be like a parrot or just repeating the same thing over and over again. It doesn't make things right. Here is what he had to say about the border when asked about it.
We have one of the strongest, more secure borders in the world between Canada and the United States. As I said, less than 1% of fentanyl going into the United States come from Canada. Less than 1% of illegal migrants going into the United States come from Canada. That doesn't mean there isn't more to do. And that's why we've invested $1.3 billion in strengthening our borders.
You can go back and watch videos I did 5-6 weeks ago and saying, if you want to solve this issue with Donald Trump and not have tariffs coming in, close the damn border. But Trudeau continues to talk about the 1% thing. He seems to think that when he says it, Donald Trump's listening, and Donald Trump is not listening to him. Who is Donald Trump listening to? Well, Donald Trump has a border czar, and we need one as well, just like Danielle Smith, my premier, has suggested. The border czar in the United States is Tom Homan, and his job is to secure the border. It's to get the people who are there illegally in the United States out and ensure that people aren't coming in. He was on with Tucker Carlson, and this is what he said about our border.
How many came through Canada? Do you know?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I know the number, depending on what sector you look at, is 600 to 800% increase on the northern border, specifically in upstate New York, where I grew up. And I still have a home up there, so I'm very familiar with that area, and I talk to Border Patrol chiefs up there all the time. Northern New York, it has a huge problem, and the problem with northern border, a lot of SIAs come through the northern border. They can afford to fly to Canada and cross the northern border, which is wide open because there's a lot of border and very few agents. So a lot of Indians, a lot of Pakistani, a lot of Turkish come through the northern border.
So Trudeau's not listening to what Donald Trump's saying, and that's what he needs to do to solve this problem. I saw a video the other day with Lauren Gunter. I'll try to find a link and put it in the description, but he was talking about Trudeau going on and on about spending, $1.6 billion on border security. He says that's over 6 years, and he said we have 2 Black Hawk helicopters. And he says if they start in the middle and go out, with maintenance and all the time fueling and whatnot, it'll take 3 weeks for both of them to get to the end of the border on either side of the country because it's 8,000 kilometers long. Don't you think that somebody trying to break into the country will just wait until the helicopter passes? And that's true. So this is a real issue, and Trudeau is ignoring it, and he needs to start listening, or this is going to go on and on and on. Now, the other thing he was asked about was recalling Parliament. And he also talks about supporting Canadians in this one. And this one was a jaw dropper. We need to recall Parliament. We need to sit down and discuss this with our elected officials, and that's right across the country. And Trudeau doesn't seem to think that's a problem at all.
As you can see from our strong response package, as we spoke about with premiers this afternoon and have for many weeks, we have the tools to be able to support Canadians through this challenging time as it stands. This is a moment for Canadians to pull together, including Canadians of all different political parties.
I'm not a person who really likes to rely on government all that much, but I think we need a functioning government right now, and we don't have one, and he says we don't need it. Speaking with the premiers is all he needs. I think the premiers have let us down. I'll get into that in just a moment. I've been saying that for quite some time, since the first time they sat down to talk to Trudeau about this. Then he talks about we have the tools to support Canadian citizens. If this goes on for very long, they've talked about pandemic-type relief for this tariff situation. That means spending more money. That means driving up inflation. That means giving you money and probably clawing it back like they did with those CERB payments. It happened to me. Maybe I'll talk about it sometime. But this is where we are right now. We need Parliament recalled right now, and we need an election right now, but he's not having any of it. So the last thing I really want to get into here, and then I'll just kind of sum up, was somebody asked him about talking to Donald Trump, and one question was really missed by the reporters after he answered this.
Good evening, Prime Minister. Stephanie Taylor with the National Post. What does it tell you about your relationship with President Trump that you've been trying to get a hold of him and he hasn't been speaking with you?
I think this is a time where we've all remarked on just how active President Trump has been in engaging with a wide range of topics in his first weeks in office. As you all know, I've had many good and substantive conversations with President Trump over the past months.
He's spoken to Trump many times, but the question that was missed after this was, when was the last time you spoke with Donald Trump? He sent people down to Washington, but they haven't been speaking with the right people. When was the last time you spoke with Donald Trump? Because that would have given us an indication on how hard he was working on resolving this issue. Because the question he should have been asking Donald Trump is, what do I have to do so we don't have these tariffs? And can you push it back for a couple of weeks so we can put all of those measures in place to avoid tariffs? That's what he should have been saying. But again, this is a way to raise poll numbers. And it'll be interesting to see how the poll numbers go up or down over the next week. The other thing that's interesting about this is Pierre Poilievre has been campaigning since he became the leader of the Conservative Party about a carbon tax election. This isn't a carbon tax election anymore. They have neutered him when it comes to that issue. I mean, it's certainly in the back of Canadians' minds, but this is all about tariffs now. $155 billion in tariffs, $30 billion now, the rest in 21 days. So this is going to go on for at least 3 weeks. It'll go on at least till March 9th when they pick a new leader. We won't have government again until the 24th, and God knows what's going to happen after that. Now, as far as the premiers go, I said this in a video not long ago. The premiers should have just basically called for an election when they first sat down to talk to him. The first Team Canada meeting with Trudeau. We want an election. We're not talking to you unless we have an election. They should have stood strong last night and told Trudeau that we don't see you as the leader of our country anymore. You've resigned. We don't have a functioning parliament. You need to recall parliament now or we're not talking to you. Unfortunately, a lot of these people like David Eby in BC, I mean, he's restricting purchases or bringing anything into BC from red states, from Republicans. That's how petty this has become. And Doug Ford is running on the same issue that Trudeau's using to bring up the Liberal polls. I'm standing up to Donald Trump. So really, we've got no unity when it comes to our premiers. Danielle Smith is the only one who's been standing strong on this all along. I think we're really in deep trouble right now, and I'm mad about it. This should not be happening. And the fact that people think that Trudeau is some kind of hero for standing up last night really sickens me, and it should sicken you as well. It's really, really sad, and it's dangerous as well. I don't know how this is going to affect me. I don't know what I can do to soften the blow coming in from south of the border and Donald Trump. Now, if you're interested in seeing a video, this will really piss people off who like Donald Trump. I did a video the other day saying Donald Trump is Canada's greatest economic ally, even with these tariffs come in. Check out this card, click on it, watch that, leave some comments on that as well. Tell me what you think of this one. Please give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Please subscribe to the channel, share the video as well, and I'll see you in the next one.